Hey guys, it's time for Window Manager number 2 in my list of 12 window managers that I'm reviewing in this series of videos that I call the Obscure Window Manager Project. I've already reviewed the first window manager in the list, FVWM. I reviewed that a few days ago on the channel. Now it's time to move on to the second window manager in the list, JWM, or Joe's Window Manager. JWM is a lightweight, minimal, floating window manager. It is very similar in look and feel to something like Openbox and Fluxbox. It is written in C. It is the default window manager on minimalist Linux distros such as Puppy Linux. It was also the default window manager on Damn Small Linux when Damn Small Linux was still around. Damn Small has actually been dead for many, many years now. I think their last release was way back in 2012. But anyway, I'm going to log into JWM for the first time here. This is what you get with JWM. You get a solid black background, and you have the default JWM panel. The default panel here has your menu. This menu actually is a left-click menu on the desktop. Clicking the logo in the panel also launches it, but it's the exact same menu. We also have a pager in the panel for our virtual desktops. And we have a taskbar. If I open a terminal here, you will see the taskbar also at the bottom for minimize and unminimize of windows. By default, Joe's Window Manager, that left-click menu we have is not populated really with anything. You have the terminal that opens up your default terminal, and then you have this applications category that has 6 programs by default. Now these are just hard-coded in the default Joe's Window Manager config file. You may have these programs installed on your system, you may not. For example, I didn't install Audacious, so that's just a dead link in the menu. That does nothing. Really, the only link in this menu by default that you can count on is the terminal. So you may only have a terminal to work in when you first launch Joe's Window Manager. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to launch our file manager, PCMan-FM. And the first thing I want to do is find the default JWM config file. Now, where that file lives is in your home directory. So you go to your home directory and you find the .jwmrc file. .jwmrc. Now, by default, there's not one here. Okay, so we need to create a default .jwmrc file. So I'm going to open up a terminal. I'm going to type the command locate jwmrc. Okay, and that file lives at /etc/system.jwrc. So I apologize for doing some of this in the terminal, but it's just so much easier if you know your way around the terminal to do these things. So I need to copy that default jwmrc file that lives in /etc. Copy that over to my home directory. So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to have to be super user privileges to copy from the /etc folder. You have to be root to copy from anything in /etc. So sudo cp /etc/system.jwmrc. I'm going to copy that file, and I'm going to call that file /home/dt.jwmrc. So this puts that .jwmrc file in our home directory. Now, if I look at the file manager here, there we go. Now, because I copied that file over from /etc as root, we don't have privileges for this file for the home user. This is still owned by the root user. If I look at properties here, go to permissions, the root user still owns that file. We need to change that over to my home user, which I call DT here in this version or in this virtual machine. So I'm going to type the command sudo chown for change owner dt:/dt. So I'm going to change the owner and the group to dt and the file name .jwmrc. Hit enter. And now when I go back here and look at the file properties and permissions, you see owner dt, group dt. So now my home user actually owns this file. Anyway, enough of the terminal lesson. JWMRC, this is our default config file for Joe's window manager. And it's pretty straightforward how to read this. You have the root menu, and then you have program, you have icon, label, name of program, and you see right here these 6 programs here: Audacious, Calculator, GIMP, Pigeon, Firefox, or these programs right here. Now we could edit this and add all the programs that I've already got installed on Manjaro, just one at a time, go through all the programs I have installed on Manjaro and just start adding them to this text file. That would take a very long time. Isn't there some automated way of doing this? Well, yeah, there are programs out there that will automatically populate this menu for us. It basically automatically writes this config file for us. And one of those programs that will do this for us is called MJWM. It is not in the repos, not in the Arch repos, it's not in the Arch user repository. You basically have to build this program from source. So MJWM, I'll briefly read a little bit about it. MJWM creates JWM's menu from your free desktop files. So all those files that end in .desktop on your system, it finds those files and it creates a menu out of those files. So basically it saves us, an hour or two of work of, doing that config ourselves, manually entering everything into the menu. And basically you download the source here, and then you run autogen.sh configure make sudo make install. It's your standard, building from source. And once you have built MJWM, you just simply run it from the terminal. MJWM, hit enter, and now in your home directory, right up under our default config.jwmrc, you also have .jwmrc-mjwm. This includes all the menu listings that should go in .jwmrc. Now you could copy all of those into the .jwmrc, but the easiest way is to just do an include of .jwmrc-mjwm into the .jwmrc file. What does that include look like? Well, you open up your .jwmrc, you go into the root menu right here, see where it says the root menu. Inside the first root menu tab, or command here, you include this right here, include home-.jwmrc-mjwm. Hit save. Left click on the desktop, hit restart. Now left click on the desktop again. There is our new menu, populated with all of our desktop applications. So again, it would take you a couple of hours to have manually entered all these into your config file. This makes it so much easier. Alright, so now that we've got a menu that kind of works for us, we still need to play around with this menu. I'm going to edit it a little bit later, but for now, we're good. I can at least launch all my applications, so I'm happy. The background, the solid color background, I'm not happy about that. So in our config here, our .jwmrc config file here, I'm going to see if I can figure out where the background is set. Just looking through here. Well, there's really not much to this config. I'm looking for something that stands out as the background. Oh, here it is. Background. Oh, of course. The background tag right here. Background, type equals solid, and then the solid color is 11111, basically a really dark gray, almost black. I'm going to change this to background type equals command. So background type equals command, and then I'm going to give it a basically a command to execute. Nitrogen is a wallpaper selection program. -- restore. Nitrogen space -- restore. I'm going to hit save. Restart. And there we go. Now we have a wallpaper. This wallpaper will load every time we log into Nitrogen now. to JWM. It will automatically do the command nitrogen -- restore. So we'll never have to worry about setting this wallpaper again. Alright, so editing some of this other stuff. The font here in the menu, our left click menu, is right here. The tag menu style. Find that. Right up under it, font, Sans 9. I don't mind the Sans font, but I would prefer, instead of Sans 9 medium, which is what they have it set to, I'm going to go Sans 8-point font, bold. I want it an 8-point font, and I want it bold. Let me restart. Oh yeah, I like that. I also notice under the menu style, we have opacity set to 0.85. Now opacity only works if we're using a compositor, so we need to launch the Compton Compositor to get some transparency here. So let me launch Compton. First of all, I'm going to go to a run command program called Rofi space dash show run, and then Compton. And that adds our transparencies. See, now I have a menu with transparency. I also have a panel with transparency. If I wanted, to do such transparencies. I'm really not sure if I actually would like to do those kind of transparencies. I really don't like the inactive window transparency. That's a little tacky to me. For the most part, transparencies, I'm not that big of a fan. So I will leave the Compton Compositor on because it makes for less screen tearing. It makes for a smoother desktop, but I probably would change this opacity here to just 1.0. Restart. And now you see my menu is no longer opaque. It has a solid color background. And I need to do the same for the inactive windows and the title bar, assuming I want to get rid of those opacities. One thing I'll say about the menu is icons. You notice that I have hardly any icons in this menu. I have one program in accessories that has an icon. None of the others have. Graphics, one program has an icon. Under multimedia, nothing. Under system, of all these system utilities, one program has an icon. Basically, there's like 3 programs in this entire menu that have an icon. So what we need to do is figure out where it's looking for icons. So icon path right here. It's looking for icons in /user share icons, Jwm icons, 32x32 Aquafusion. I'm certain I don't have that because I've never seen that particular icon set. I don't know what that is. It's also looking for an icon set in /user/share/JWM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own icon set, and I'm going to make sure that we have icons next to all these programs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open from a terminal sudo pcman-fm, and then the location of the directory I want to go to, /user/share/icons. Of course, we have to give our root password here, since we're doing all this from the root user. Alright, and here are some icon sets I have installed on this already. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to create this new folder. I'm going to call it JWM. So under user share icons, I now have a folder called JWM. Of course, there's no icons in this folder. That's alright. I'm going to pull some down. I'm going to fill that folder full of icons. So I'm going to go to the Vibrancy Colors folder here. And I'm going to go to Apps. I want the icons to be 24 by 24. I'm just going to pick that size. Anyway, Control A to select all of them. Control C to copy all of them. I'm going to go back up to the JWM folder here. I'm going to Control V to paste all these here. Yeah. And now for the icon path here, I'm going to get rid of this one because it doesn't exist anyway. And I'm going to change this to user share icons JWM. Save. Now I left click on the desktop, restart, and let's see if we have any more icons. You see already we're starting to have icons next to some of these programs. So I'm just going to keep doing this, adding more stuff into that folder until we have icon by every program. Alright, anyway, I've filled this folder up with a bunch of icons. I've pretty much pulled a little bit of everything from all these icon sets. Anything that was 24 by 24 and a ping file, I put in this Jwm icon folder. And you see, I pretty much have an icon beside every program. There's still a few that I don't have icons for, but I either need to create an icon for it, or I need to make sure in the config file that the icon selected for these programs actually exists, or just pick a different one. So let's clean up this menu a little bit. So we have, of course, the menus that were created by MJWM, that program that we built from source. But we still have that initial applications category with those random 6 links to programs. Some of them we don't even have installed here. We can get rid of this. We do not need this folder, and we don't need these applications. So here in our default menu, where we included the MJWM applications, which are all these, like these first 7 categories, up under it is that next category right here. It was called applications, and it had Audacious, Calculator, GIMP, Pigeon, Firefox. I'm going to just get rid of that. I'm going to highlight that. Boom. It's gone. Hit save. Restart. And now we don't have that anymore. Also don't need this utilities category. Well, I don't know. We might keep it. But this terminal application launcher that's just kind of out of nowhere stuck here, we need to move that to a more logical place. So it's right here. Gonna Control X to cut that out of here, and I'm going to paste it, I don't know, somewhere else. How about right here? Restart. And now, yeah, the terminal launcher is under all the application categories here. I'm okay with that, but you know what? I would rather move it further down. How about right here? Restart. Now the terminal is right here, right above restart and exit in the menu, which restart and exit do not have icons. We need to correct that. Okay, so I kept copying icons over into that /user/share/icon/jwm directory until I've got icons for everything, including restart, exit, shutdown here. So basically, if you're wondering exactly how to do the icons, you just need to make sure you have that folder set right here. Icon path, the location of where your icons are. Here's where I put mine. And then when you have a program, for example, termite right here, execute termite is my terminal, the termite terminal. We need to have the name of the icon for it right here. I chose the xterm icon. There's a xterm.ping image file in that /user/share/icon/jwm folder. And that is what it chooses right here for the icon for that termite terminal. Now, one of the cool features of JWM is, you guys know I love Openbox, and one of the biggest features about Openbox that I love is the dynamic menu feature of Openbox, what Openbox calls pipe menus. Basically, you create a script, some kind of shell script or Python script, and it runs in the menu. It dynamically creates some kind of menu for you. For example, this recently used application or recently used document menu. This is a dynamic menu. This changes. Every time I open a new document, new stuff will be populated in this list. How does that work? Well, you include dynamic menus, basically right here, how I did it. Dynamic, and then the name of the icon I chose for that particular menu here, which was gnome-documents. I chose that icon for recently used. Label, recently used, is the title of the menu. And then exec for execute, and then wherever that script that I wrote for those recent files, where it lives on my system to launch this. So what I did is in the home folder, I created a hidden directory called .jwm. In that hidden directory, I created a folder called menus. And then I wrote a file called recent-files.sh. Well, actually, I copied this from somebody that had it up on the web, but basically this, creates this little menu here, this recently used documents menu. Basically, when you click on this, or basically just hover over it, it runs that script, this shell script right here. So that creates this dynamic menu. Very cool. And what I'll end up doing, playing around, if I choose to play around in Joe's Window Manager a little bit, I'm going to just copy all of my Openbox dynamic menus, like my VirtualBox dynamic menu I've showed you guys that lists all my VMs. It would be very easy to port those over to JWM. A matter of fact, I may not even have to change anything, especially like the shell scripts, Python scripts. I think it just reads them. I don't have to do any changing of anything. The only thing that'll be different is how it's called up in the JWMRC file. It'll be a little bit different than how it's called up in Openbox's RC files. Anyway, that's JWM in a nutshell, Joe's Window Manager. And it actually was pretty straightforward, and I kind of thought it would be because it's very much like Openbox and Fluxbox. I'm very familiar with those window managers. So JWM really, in a lot of ways, is very much like Openbox. I could actually comfortably live in JWM. I really, I quite like this window manager, to be honest. It's super fast. I mean, just blazing fast. Everything just opens in an instant. The panel, I like this default panel. In Openbox, I always use the Tint 2 panel because Openbox doesn't come with a panel out of the box. You have to install some third-party panel. Tint 2 is usually the one I go with. I love that Joe's Window Manager includes its own panel, and it's very configurable. I mean, I was able to make this little panel look pretty sharp, and I didn't spend a lot of time playing around in this. So anyway, Joe's Window Manager, guys, give it a try. Again, I'm going to upload this VM to SourceForge so you guys can see exactly what I'm seeing here. You can just rip my config files down. I'm also going to upload my config files to GitHub. So check it out. Peace, guys.